what will happen, currently we have 107 seats. Under this system, there would be 129 seats. 90 of them would be elected through the top part of this ballot. So there would be 90 what are called local members. And the other 39 would be elected through the list system, which is the bottom part of the ballot. The political party with the largest number of seats, adding both sides together, would be the one that would form the government. And so you ask, how do you get to the other side of that? There would be one vote on the top, one vote on the bottom, and you do not have to vote consistently. So for example, I really like Bugs Bunny as a candidate. I can't stand the Asparagus Party, which is the party he represents. I really like the Broccoli Party and what they represent. So I can vote for Bugs Bunny, who is an asparagus member, and then down here I can vote for the Broccoli Party. When all of these, on election day, they will count these ballots in the riding first, and the results will be released, so you'll know roughly the same way as we do now that night, or depending on how exciting the ballot is. The next morning, who is the MPP. Then these ballots will be counted in the riding, the numbers will go to Toronto, they'll add these all together, and they will determine the percentage of votes that each party is entitled to have in the legislature based on the popular vote. So, if, let's say, the Asparagus Party gets, with these, with their local members, they get 40% of the local members. So 40% of the 129 seats I talked about. But they get 60% of the popular vote. They would then be entitled to have, from the list members, enough extra members to make up their percentage of the total House to the 60%. And the next question I get immediately is, okay, but what if they got 60% of the members up here and they only got 20% of the popular vote? They do not take away individual elected members. So, and how do the people get to be in the proportional seats? Every party would have to create a list before the election. It would have to be published, and it would also they would also have to release the way they created the list. So if they had a party convention and they elected the list, they would have to tell you that that's how they were put together. If they flipped open the Ottawa phone book to page 39 and took the first 6 names on the top of it, and they made that their list, they would have to tell you that's how they did it. And that might influence how you voted. In order for the mixed member proportional proposal to succeed, they have to get 2 60% majorities. And there are reasons for both of those 60% majorities. The first 60% majorities, they must have 60% of all the votes that were cast across Ontario. The second one is that they have to have 50% plus 1 of the votes cast in 60% of the ridings, and 60% is 64 ridings. The reasons for that is that, first of all, the electoral system, not everybody votes. For those people who do vote, the democratic system is very important to them. And in order to change the way that we deal with democracy, the government has decided that you have to have a very strong demonstration that the people actually want to have that change made. So that's why the first 60%. The second 60% is so that you couldn't have one area of the province voting overwhelmingly in favor and the rest of the province not supporting it and having to live with it in the morning. This is an Uni Lang slide, for which I apologize. I just got this today, so you are the very first people to ever see this. It's for me. And this is a comparison of the two systems. First past the post, c'est une majorité relative, which is the current system. So c'est le système existant maintenant. There are 107 seats, and they're all directly elected local members. The other system, there would be 90 local members and another 39 list members who are elected from the list proposed by the various parties. And there is absolutely no significance that there are 3 boxes for parties. I know someone will ask me that, I don't say that. And it's important for people to participate. Normally when I'm making these presentations, I'm doing them all by myself. So I strongly urge people to go out and find out information about the 2 sides. And of course, you have the answer to that momentarily. The other people I talk to have to actually do work together. Part of the legislation that set up the referendum instructed the chief electoral officer, who I work for, to create an education campaign so that people would understand what a referendum is, what the question is, etc. And so part of that is we have a telephone line where if I haven't brilliantly answered all your questions, you can call them in the morning and tell them that. It's 1-888-ONT-VOTE. And we also have a website, which is yourbigdecision.ca. And if you go to that, it has links to the Citizens Assembly, which has, again, links to all kinds of other information, including some information about other countries and jurisdictions that have different types of electoral systems. And so your homework is, for those of you who have not already voted, go and vote. The other thing that I do want to tell you is that when you go and vote, this year there is a new requirement, and this is not part of my scripted presentation. There is a requirement that you show ID. The reason I'm mentioning this every time is because I went to vote in the advanced poll, and I walked in and I handed her my card, and she said, I see some ID? And so I held up my, Elections Ontario ID, which I thought was kind of legitimate in an election office. I was in the returning office, which is where my office is, and they refused me the ballot because I don't have a signature on this card. So you must have ID that is signed. Fortunately, I had my driver's license and didn't have to go home, which was just as well because I had my 17-year-old with me, and you know what they're like. The other source of information, there was a debate on the 27th, I think, of September on TDO, and it is being run again on Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and I know you guys have nothing else to do on Saturday at 6 o'clock, so you can take that. So, any questions? That was various, I have to leave some things unanswered because these guys have to tell you something. No questions? Great.